2022. What guarantees are there that the deputy governor then becomes the desirable person to of course, run that particular county, Mr. Speaker? And also in that, Mr. Speaker, I want to tell the majority leader that some of us may also want to correct a mistake we made in 2022 of electing the sitting president, but we have to follow the procedure. And so we cannot, Mr. Speaker, stand here and say that just because, Mr. Speaker, can I be heard in silence, Mr. Speaker?
What is your point of order, Senator Mundigi?
Please freeze my time.
Order.
Senator Nyutu avai kuongea mambo ya jina ya rais wa Kenya, wakati hapa tunaongea mambo ya devolution, wakati hapa tunaongea mambo ya kuokoa governor ama kuokoa MC. Kwa hivyo amekosea kutanja jina ya rais wa Kenya katika kwa hii kikao.
Order, honorable senators, order. Order. I think what Senator Nyutu has said is if you need to remove our president, you need to use the constitutional means, which is a fact. Conclude. Conclude.
So thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you also for educating Senator Mundigi, and to also tell him to be a better listener than a better talker, Mr. Speaker. So what I was saying is that we cannot forget about procedure and process just because we want any public officer out of office. That we must follow procedure, and just like we are waiting, that's what I was saying, to remove President Ruto in 2027 by a way of vote, the people of Isiolo will have to wait.
Order, honorable senator. Senator Nyutu, just take your seat. Senator Nyutu, I've given you latitude. Don't abuse it. As you make your comments, leave alone the name of the president. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm advised. So what we are saying, I'm just joining my colleagues in saying that the County Assembly of Isiolo must put its act together, and that the County Assembly must not be motivated by the need to remove the county governor and thereby forget about the procedure and the process. Mr. Speaker, no sittings were held on the 18th of June and the 26th of June because there is no evidence whatsoever, audio or even written anywhere, Mr. Speaker. I believe that the images that we saw there, Mr. Speaker, cannot be proof enough that even audio recordings were destroyed just because maybe there were those incidents that the councils for the county assembly were able to show.
Mahakama, lakini sio mahakama kulingana na ile undani kabisa. Kwa hivyo sisi hatuwezi kufungwa mikono kwa sababu ya masuala ya kiprocedure ama kimwelekeo. Kama Senate tuna jukumu la kuhakikisha kwamba sheria ama haki inapatikana. Je, haki ile itapatikana kwa watu wa Isiolo na watu wengine wote wakati tutakapomaliza hii kesi katika primary stage, ama itapatikana wakati tutakaposikizwa mpaka mwisho? Tumeona kwamba hata kama itakuwa Senate imefanya makosa katika kumbandua mamlakani governor ana nafasi ya kwenda mahakama ya High Court, kwenda mahakama ya rufaa, mpaka mahakama ya upeo zaidi katika nchi yetu. Kwa hivyo hapa kwa sasa hatuamui tuampeleka nyumbani, tuambandua governor ama hatumbandui. Hapa tunachoamua ni kwamba je, tusikize ushahidi wote kamili ili tuweze kupata taswira kamili ya yale ambayo yalitokea kule Isiolo. Kama ushahidi ambao utasikizwa hautaweza kufikia kile kiwango kinachohitajika na sheria, basi itakuwa hatuna budi kumwachilia. Lakini kwa sasa itakuwa ni kinyume, na vile vile pia ni dhulma kwa watu wa Isiolo iwapo tutaweza kumaliza kesi hii katika hii mahali ambapo imefikia katika hatua ya mwanzo kabisa kulingana na sheria. Kwa Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi napinga hii hoja ya kupitishwa kwa hii primary objection, nasema kwamba wacha kesi iendelee mpaka mwisho, kwa sababu hakuna chochote ambacho tutapunguza. Tutapunguza ama tutaongeza tukiendelea mpaka mwisho. Asante Mheshimiwa Speaker.
Senator Ali Roba.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. First and foremost, and albeit the fact that the times given is very short, the issue before us that is to be determined as a Senate is the impeachment of the governor. And that justice can only be arrived at if we look at the substance of the case to logical conclusion prior to killing the case before it is even starts. The saddest point, Mr. Speaker, is that even listening this case, whether the governor is impeached or he is not impeached, Isiolo County is at a very desperate situation. The situation in Isiolo County, whether the governor is impeached or not impeached, is not going to improve because of the lawlessness that has prevailed in that Isiolo County. Mr. Speaker, I see no harm for the Senate of the Republic of Kenya, just like any other court, despite the fact that preliminary objections will be raised, for the Senate to listen to the substance of the case and make a determination after all the evidence has been heard and processed. Because what we are trying to do is to kill the case before it has even started. Yet the same issues would be able to be brought forth in the substance of the case in terms of trying to debate and get. This is not about whether the governor can be impeached or not impeached, but is whether the Senate can listen to the case, exhaustively, to be able to determine from a very informed point of view that this case has been substantiated or not substantiated on the basis of the evidence that will be presented before us. And the issues that has been shared will come out to light with even more evidence. It could even give, a very decisive position for us to be able to make two serious references within the evidence that are produced by the county assembly or the council for the governor, for that matter. I oppose this motion and seek to convince my colleagues that we are better off determining this case after having listened to the substance of the case exhaustively to its logical conclusion. Mr. Speaker, sir, I oppose.
Senator Omtata.
Mr. Speaker, sir, thank you for the opportunity. Allow me to read a verse, a section of this book, A Man for All Seasons. It says, Roper says, so now you would give the devil the benefit of law. More replies, yes. What would you do? Cut a great road through the law to get after the devil? Roper replies, I would cut down every law in England to do that. More replies, oh, and when the last law was down and the devil turned round on you, where would you hide, Roper? The laws all being flat. This country is planted thick with laws from coast to coast. Man's laws, not God's. And if you cut them down and you are just the man to do that, do you really think you could stand upright in the winds that would blow? Yes, I would give the devil benefit of law for my own safety's sake. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, those words that were uttered, that were written in 1960 in the play A Man for All Seasons, underscore my position that we must uphold the rule of law in this country. Article 3, Clause 1 of the Constitution calls upon us to do just that, and having listened to the motions here, from the way the matter was conducted, clearly we had two motions before this House, with an application for dismissal based on the fact that there was no hearing, and there was a preliminary objection based on the fact that there was a court order. So, disposing of that motion, when you allowed evidence to be adduced to move into a motion, I would say that having listened to what was presented, there was no sitting of the Assembly that meets the threshold in law. The Assembly has got a designated place where it sits. The Assembly has got clear procedures to be followed. And unfortunately, the evidence before us is such that that sitting did not take place. Number two, we were told that we could ignore the court orders. I would like to persuade the Land Council, who are saying that the High Court had no business to intervene, to look at Article 165 of the Constitution.
Senator from
Busia
County.
Yes.
Just restrict your submissions to the motion on the sittings.
Yeah, so
when I come to the second motion, you will make these comments.
Okay. So I'm fully persuaded that there was no sitting that that gives us jurisdiction to sit.
Senator Karen Nyamu.
Mr. Speaker, with all due respect, this is a joke and a dangerous one, Mr. Speaker. Where does the team of the County Assembly of Isiolo get the audacity to walk into this Senate without a shred of evidence that a sitting of a county assembly ever took place? Mr. Speaker, this is not a WhatsApp group. This is a constitutional institution. Where is the Hansard? Where is the attendance record? And I want to be very clear. There was no sitting, and therefore there was no impeachment, Mr. Speaker. And with those very few remarks, I support.
Senator Professor Tom Ojenda.
Mr. Speaker, the jurisprudential contours of impeachment are embedded both in procedure and in substance, and now well settled, Mr. Speaker, in the case of Martin Nyaga Wambora and County Assembly of Embu. I took part in the case. The case of Mohammed Ali Mahmoud and County Assembly Wajir, Mr. Speaker, again I took part in the case, and we got the governor back to office because there was a court order. And lastly, Kawera Mangaza and the County Assembly of Meru, and the recent case, Mr. Speaker, of Onyango Olo versus County Assembly of Kisumu. Mr. Speaker, the question as to whether there was a sitting is answered by the documents filed before the Senate. The affidavit of Salad Boru Guracha speaks to whether or not there was a sitting, and it is emphatic, Mr. Speaker, that there was no sitting. The second affidavit that we have, Mr. Speaker, on record is by Habiba Galgalo Jirma, who is the Chief Finance Officer, and who also confirms that there was no sitting. The third affidavit is by the Honorable Abinur D. Mojilo, who is an elected member of Kina Ward, and who confirms that there was no sitting. The next affidavit is by Honorable Diba Brushad Ali, who is the duly elected County Assembly of Isiolo member for Garbatula Ward, who also confirms that there was no sitting. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, and this is important, Shaban Mzungu, whose affidavit appears at page 46, confirms that on the 18th the assembly was locked. On the 26th, the assembly, the members were able to get in the assembly for 10 minutes and walk out. And that is where the substantive question as to whether there were proper recordings. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, this afternoon, I thought that counsel for the county assembly would have responded to the technical issues raised as to whether or not there was a sitting through the law. But unfortunately, Council Mawera fell into the tricks of his submissions by playing two videos that did not have voice recordings, and that went, Mr. Speaker, to admitting that there were no proceedings at the assembly. It's very, very unfortunate that this case has to die. Mr. Speaker, I was prepared to proceed to the substance of the hearing.
Senator Seki.
Honorable Speaker, I also wish to support this motion by saying that the County Assembly of Isiolo have not demonstrated to this House that there was a sitting in the County Assembly of Isiolo. Honorable Speaker, some years back, I used to work as a clerk in the county councils by then, before devolution. And the county councils, municipalities, councillors respect also the law. And they used to work or even to deliberate in the chamber. The reason why we have the chamber is there is a reason as to why we have the chamber. It is very difficult and it will not be proper for the county assembly to come to this house with an allegation that they had a meeting, the assembly sat, there is no video, no audio to this house, and they believe that we'll agree to them. Honorable Speaker, this is not right. However, we may have so many things against the county assembly or the executive of Isiolo through the governor. After looking at the documentation they've presented, or even before, Honorable Speaker, but the procedure and the law must be upheld. Honorable Speaker, I support this motion by saying that we are not going to give it.
Muma.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mine, Honorable Speaker, I stand to support the motion, albeit reluctantly for this reason. This PO had 2 counts. One is clear in my view, and the other one, the one we are discussing currently, unfortunately, we did not get the instance to interrogate all the evidence. But, Mr. Speaker, it is important for us to affirm that at a time when